Blog Talk Radio.
Tired at work today? You need a 5-hour energy shot. Didn't sleep too well last night? You need a 5-hour energy shot. Energy for work, energy for fun, even some energy for the gym. If you're tired from too much lunch, try something that packs a punch. A great tasting 5-hour energy shot. You'll feel alert, energized, and ready to go. Now's the time for 5-hour energy. For more information, go to 5hourenergy.com.
Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 9 years, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Scott Griffith, and Scott Griffith is the founder and CEO of 188 Fine Men Salons. 188 Fine Men Salons first launched in 2002, and now has 50 locations open, with 400 more in development. We're going to talk to Scott about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
Franchise Teacher. Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700. Franchise interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 9 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Scott Griffith, and Scott is the founder and CEO of 188 by Men Salons. And 188 by Men Salons first launched in 2002 and now has 50 locations open with 400 more in development. Hey, Scott, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Hi, Scott. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great, Scott. How you doing today? Thanks for coming on the show this morning.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
It's my pleasure. We would like to ask our guests where you're calling from this morning, Scott.
I am in Southern California. I'm actually on my way to Torrance, which is just south of Los Angeles, and I'm on the parking lot called the 405 freeway.
Oh, okay. I am very familiar with it being, I've visited California many times. That's fantastic. I imagine the weather is nice there today, isn't it?
It's just absolutely beautiful. It's 68 degrees, slight breeze. It's the reason we pay such high taxes. It's a weather tax.
That's fantastic. It was interesting, Scott, when I was researching 188. It's such a great story. It reminds me a bit of my father. My father was a very old school, type of gentleman, and he would only, the older generation. I mean, he would only get his hair cut at a barber shop, and as time went on, as he kept moving, it was harder to find, barber shops, but that's the only place he would kind of, not say make fun of, going to a salon or something like that, but his generation just didn't do things like that, and I thought that, 188 by Men Salon had a great story. Maybe you can, get into that and a little bit about how you came up with the origin of the name, because that's another great story.
Sure. I'm always happy to talk about our brand. My background, by the way, is creating and building prestige brands. Crystal Cruises, for example. I was on the launch team. I worked with House of Blues. For Paul Mitchell, I created their men's brand called Mitch for Men, and about 50 others. It's what I love to do.
Right.
And the gentleman that had, backed by Allen & Company years ago, back in the 90s, I created his first concept, American Hair Force, and then he had the funding for the acquisitions, and I helped evaluate the brands, the marketing, building the portfolio. And in my research back in the 90s, it became clear that there was a real void in the marketplace. Barbershops are dying. The kind of experience your father had was dying. It was going away. And so you had the supercuts of the world, which is fine. It provides a certain value to a certain type of customer, but it's in and out. There's not really an experience. Very often the stylists don't even speak English. It's inexpensive, and it serves its purpose. Then you had 40 million men a year going to women's salons, mostly set by women to get a better haircut. No experience. Women's magazines, fishbowl environment, smell of perfume, and the guys are going there because the women want us to look better for them. And so, in fact, we came up with a whole campaign that we're launching. The two things a man should never ever do: one, go through a woman's purse, and the other, go through a woman's salon. And if you think of it, the cringe factor, if you go into a woman's purse, the keys could be sitting on top. You're not going to find them. And, that cringe, first time we go to a women's salon, I mean, it's a cringe factor, right?
Sure, it is, absolutely.
So we've had millions and millions of customers. By the way, we have 80 salons open this month, and we're opening at a rate of 3 to 6 a month. And so we have millions and millions of customers that now are in an environment designed for that discerning man. And half our customers are set by women. Women know that we should be in their environment, and so we're just, we're just so proud and excited that we created the concept and that we're really solving a problem with a true solution, so that guys can have their sanctuary. You know, we need our own place. Women need their own place. We need our own place, and so we're really having the time of our life, and getting the message out through resources such as yourself is really what it's all about now.
It's true, Scott. That's where, I get my haircut at a place called LA Salon, and I always feel out of place there. You know what I mean? I always hope that nobody sees me going into the place, because there's people around you. There's a lot of women getting their nails done and things like that, and you're right, and all the magazines are targeted to women. And when I read about you, I said, my God, this makes so much sense. If you were at a franchise show, I'm curious if you ever get the question, if someone were to come up to your booth, Scott, and says, so what do you guys do? Are you a men's barber shop? Do you ever get that? And how do you describe the franchise to a prospective franchisee?
Well, we define it as a salon for men, 18A fine salons for men, to provide a solution because we're premium, we're more expensive. We're about the same price actually for women's salons, but compared to a barber shop or a supercuts, we're more expensive.
Right.
But we are the alternative. We are the solution, so that you don't have to go to a woman's salon, and you can be in a semi-private environment. You can get other treatments. You can get consultation on thinning hair. The products, grooming products. We just came out with our Griffiths line of products, and we have a shave kit, the best shave ever, and so it's all designed for men. And what you're seeing, is that men are actually, it's kind of going back to the older times where they're taking care of themselves more. They take more pride in their grooming. Through the internet, through communication, men are engaging, talking more to each other, seeing what's out there. And so we created this concept, and actually a lot of these barber shops that are going through revival have been influenced by what we're doing. And again, how this whole appreciation of men looking their best, feeling their best, performing their best.
Mm-hmm. The name is clever, Scott. I don't know who gets credit for the name, but 18.8. It has a story, doesn't it?
Well, it does have a story, and it's a little funny in a way. My business partner, co-founder, is a gentleman named Ron Love. He's from England. He's a hairdresser by training, and he helped build the Crumpet International chain that was eventually acquired by Regis. And Ron is respected. He's a guru in the industry. And early on, his voice was, we're very much equal in terms of our stature. But early on, I was kind of in awe of him. And being a branding guy, I said, okay, well, let me develop a number of concepts. And one of those concepts was 18.8. We had another concept called Ron Scott.
Okay.
And Ron said, no, I like 18.8.
Yeah.
I said, 18.8 is the original formula for stainless steel.
Right.
And Ron just liked the look of it. He liked the sound.
Yeah.
But I said, well, Ron, I don't really have the brand story yet. And he said, well, I like that. Come up with a story. So then, as I did research, I found out that 18% chromium, 8% nickel added to iron makes ordinary steel, which rusts and rust, right? At least that's what women think we rust.
Yeah.
And, so the formula gets the rust, keeps steel from rusting, so it's a nice metaphor. But the alliteration, the sound of it, and then also Sheffield, England, 1909, Harry Brearley came up with the formula, so the heritage going back to England, which, and then all the cutting tools are stainless steel. And
right.
So, but, and actually it's interesting because, I've done a lot of public speaking about marketing and branding, and if you ask a room of 1,000 people how many people know the heritage of the name Starbucks,
sure,
maybe one or two will raise their hands. Most people don't even know where the name Starbucks come from. By the way,
that's true.
First mate in Moby Dick was named Starbuck, and that's why they have a mermaid logo in the sea green colors. But ironically, I would say probably 3 out of 10 people will ask us what the name 1808 means, and they actually enjoy the story. So take that, Starbucks.
Sure, exactly, because it is. It's an amazing story. When I heard it, I said that's really fantastic. Are the majority of your locations, and Scott, I assume like you're mostly out in the West Coast because that's where you got your start. I mean, just like McDonald's started out in California, and I guess I'm assuming you at some point you're going to be trickling here into the East Coast.
We are. We're clustering, and we're in the process of setting up regional managers. So we're clustering in New York, New Jersey. We have about 15 salons operating or in development. We're clustering down in the Florida, Georgia area. Texas, we're clustering up in the Midwest. Was Madison, Wisconsin. Chicago area, we're clustering, of course, all of California. We're clustering in the Seattle area. And then we set up regional managers to help work very closely with our franchise partners because our brand requires, being a premium brand, it requires constant education, constant training, delivering on the brand promise. It's a simple concept, but just connecting the dots and managing the outcome. And then, of course, we're in the people business, we're in the hospitality business. Our stylists, our barbers, we hire them on their personality as well as their craft. But giving that big hug, we call it a big hug, giving that big hug to our clientele so they really enjoy the experience. And then we're also developing new products and services to continue to add to the value equation as well.
You mentioned Scott that it's a simple concept. So franchising seems like a nice fit for 1808. What types of characteristics then will you be looking for in your franchisees?
Well, we look for in our we have over 140 franchisees now. They're very bright. Most of them come out of corporate America. The skills we look at, they have business acumen, so that's a basic, and obviously financial acumen as well. But the number one characteristic that identifies the home run hitters and the superstars is the people skills, the empathy. If they have the people skills and the empathy, and then also resourcefulness, that they can go out into the community and they can go to the concierge at the hotels, they can go to the managers at the car dealerships, they can sponsor local sports teams, they can get out in the community, they can go to the managers at various businesses and give them the gift cards, and then they understand the fundamentals of marketing. A lot of franchisees, I'm sure you've seen this, build it and they will come. You've got to go out, have to reach out, and you have to use the marketing tools in a very intelligent and effective way. But the people skills is number one between our home run hitters and those that are, running their business.
And that's a great thing about, franchising too, Scott, is you don't have to have experience to get into this type of business, do you?
No. I'm not a hairdresser, and I got into the business. I'm a
Right.
branding guy, and I'm a businessman.
Right.
Only one of our franchisees has a hairdressing background.
That's something. So what's the training like then? Yeah. I was saying, what's the training like, Scott? I mean, once you decide that, you do like them, they like you, and they want to become a franchisee, do they come out to, is it California then for the training? How does that work?
Well, it's extensive, and we've been told for an emerging brand that no emerging brand provides the level of training and support that we do. We have what we call 18-8 University. We just had our 15th 18-8 University. We have them every 2 to 3 months. We bring out, they're 5 days. I used to be a professor in the MBA graduate program at Pepperdine, so I use the Pepperdine classrooms in Irvine. And we do the training and the education in Pepperdine, and then we actually take them where they work in the salons, they work behind the desk. That's 5 days, but we also have up to 10 days in the field where we send out a crew to help them get their salons open, provide the education and training, to help them with the hiring.
Right.
And then we have ongoing, webinars, training. We bring them back out when we introduce new products and services. We're also setting up an academy to bring out their stylists into our academy to keep teaching, reinforcing in the 18-8 methodology. With our regional managers that we're now setting up, they will be going into the field on a regular basis to work with our franchise partners, also to make sure that they're delivering on the brand promise. So it's extensive. The education and training is ongoing and substantial, but our brand is too valuable to just hope that somebody's going to, hear the story once and excel at their job.
So, I mean, your experience, is quite extensive, Scott. I mean, when you're talking to a prospective franchisee, I'm sure you get the question, what makes 18-8 an exciting franchise opportunity? How do you typically respond to the question?
Well, we identified not a niche. Many of the brands out there are niche brands. We identified a chasm waiting to be filled. 40 million men every year going someplace they don't really want to go.
Right.
Dollar experience that they don't have.
Yeah.
So that's a huge number of people, and then we're now bringing in another service, True Solutions for Thinning Hair, consultation, treatment, all the way up to hair restoration. 50 million men have issues with thinning hair. We identify large voids in the marketplace, and then we effectively fill those voids through intelligent branding, operations, marketing, sales. So that's what we look for. This is a huge opportunity. Now, if you think back in Starbucks in the early days, and Howard Schultz was an investor in one of my previous companies, Starbucks, I remember back in the middle, late 80s, early 90s, and people going, what the hell is Starbucks? The name was kind of weird. This whole idea of a coffee experience sounded like gibberish. Well, fast forward 20 years, and my God, look at what they have. Because they identified a pent-up need, to have a small luxury, a better coffee experience was a latent pent-up need. A lot of times, the visionaries can see the crystal ball clearly, but it takes time for the population to catch up. And for us, once somebody experiences the 18-8 environment, as well as the hospitality, as well as the quality of the craft, they can't go anywhere else. We have it for life.
Yeah, I mean, it really is classic marketing, is satisfying the need of the market, and you really are changing this whole industry. That's what I got when I was studying your whole business model, and you're right. I mean, who wants to talk about, if you go into a salon, and you have a nice girl cutting your hair. I mean, who wants to talk about, thinning hair to her? You know what I mean? It's, you feel more comfortable talking about it in your environment, perhaps, with other, men, or, just a place that you feel comfortable to do that. And that market is huge as well. So it seems like there's a lot of multiple revenue streams for your model, isn't there, Scott?
Yes, there are. Yeah, exactly. I was reading about you, and of course you have an MBA and a very astute businessman, and so you're nailing it on the head. We're a trusted environment as a man, so either the guy can bring it up and not feel weird, or the barber or the stylist can bring it up, and the guy feels it's a natural conversation to have. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. You have so much experience, Scott. I mean, it's very impressive, in studying your background and all the brands that you've worked with. And, the majority of our listeners to our show, I mean, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. I mean, most of them know they want to get into franchising, but we find that in doing the show such a long time now, that a lot of them, they don't even know where to begin. It just seems overwhelming. So, I mean, with everything that you know, what advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise?
Well, I think having a certain sense of what you're really looking for. Are you looking to buy yourself a job? Okay.
Right.
Are you looking to be a semi-absentee owner? Our model enables a semi-absentee owner, once the salon is up and running and you got a behind-the-chair manager, you should be able to operate it remotely and come in maybe once a week.
Sure.
And so also, is it a brand that you're really excited about? If you're excited about making sandwiches or burgers and, that turns you on, great.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
If you want to be in a prestige category that is leading and innovative, then 18.8 is something for you. If you want to work out of your house and you can be in your robe and run a business part-time, a travel business, for example, then that's good. So I think having some sense of clarity of self is, everybody wants, of course, make money, and everybody wants to be rich, and everybody wants to be feel in control of their destiny. But as you whittle that down, you get into, okay, what are you designed for? Some people, they like something that's cookie cutter. They don't have to think. And they just do it robotically. That may be in their DNA. Others want to be able to, brag about, somebody who likes fine wine, for example, wants to be able to show off their knowledge of wine. So somebody that enjoys, I've always been in the prestige area. I've always felt proud to describe the brands that I've been a part of. That's who I am. That's who I am.
Exactly. That's fantastic. So I could ask you the next question as the CEO of the company. I mean, so where do you see 18.8 maybe, 3 to 5 years down the road, Scott?
Well, we are growing. We were growing very rapidly for the first 3 years, and we throttled back a bit because we want to make sure that we're providing the level of attention that is necessary for our franchisees, and we've been able to better identify the tools that work most efficiently and then focus on those tools. But the brand, the 18.8 brand at a minimum, can be 1,600, 2,000 units. But I also see creating the environment as a sandbox and then looking for opportunities to put more into the sandbox. For example, True Solutions for thinning hair. We're adding that to the sandbox. It's incrementally, the expense to implement is very low, but the revenue to generate an extra 20-30% revenue and then have another real value-added solution. So that's what I'm continuing to look at. I want our franchisees to see cash on cash back in 2.5, 3.5 years. I want investors and franchisees or investors to say, not only is this a prestige brand, not only is it exciting, but this is financially, this is a smart decision.
That's fantastic. What's the best way, Scott, for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee to 188? Is there any websites that they should go to?
Yes. The two things they can do, they can go to, you spell out the numbers, 188.com, EIGHAEN, 188.com, or contact me directly at scott@188.com, and they can just make note that they affiliated with a station, or they heard me. Hopefully I didn't turn them off.
No, you did a great job. You did a great job in describing the opportunity. Again, I've done a lot of these interviews, and I think that this is something interesting and exciting. And I get it, the whole marketing. I see tremendous potential for your franchisees for 188. It's an incredible opportunity. I already like to invite you back next year as you continue to grow, Scott. This is wonderful.
Sure, I appreciate that, and you're a very good interviewer as well.
Thank you for saying that, Scott. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com. Or call us at 561-385-3032.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting franchise interviews now over 6 years and over 300 shows, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on the show. Today you're going to get to hear from Ellen Dunn, who is a franchisee to the Wild Birds Unlimited franchise system. And frequently on the show we'll ask our guests why franchising? Why did you go into franchising? And I thought Lynn's answer was really unique out of all the guests we've had in 6 years. She spoke about the importance of having relationships, and she even thinks of the franchisor and her fellow franchisees as friends. So I thought that was very clever. She also took an assessment of what maybe her possible weaknesses were and her strengths, and she says that the franchise can help her with things like advertising or marketing, which wasn't really in her background. So we're going to play that clip for you right now and enjoy this edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Here we go.
I left and started my own business. I always had a corporation behind me, and I knew that I needed someone that could offer me all the things that I didn't get from the corporate world. And after interviewing several other franchisees, I knew that WBU was where I was going to get all the things as a small business owner that from the corporate world that I couldn't get on my own, such as the HR and the marketing.
Right. So you were sold, or you were convinced on franchising right away, Ellen. You kind of knew that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, but franchising was probably the best alternative for your situation.
Correct, because I didn't have all the expertise for mainly the marketing, the advertising.
Sure.
Because I always, as I said, I always had a corporation behind me at my other jobs, so I didn't know how to go about doing all those things on my own. And a franchise is the best way to get those items.
That's fantastic.
Did you know the
category?
Really well.
Did you know the category was going to be retail, Ellen? I mean, did you know? I mean, there's 80. I think there's 80 different industries. A Wild Birds Unlimited franchisee.
Well, that was one of the things I was nervous the most about going out on my own was missing relationship building because again, coming from very large corporations, I was worried about not having friends.
Sure.
I must say,
that's interesting.
I have tons of friends. All the different store owners, building the relationships with all the store owners here in New England and across the United States. I just have lots of relationships, and the relationships at the Franchise Support Center. I can pick up the phone at any time and call any number of people to talk to and bounce off crazy ideas that I might be coming up with, and they'll either laugh with me or think that it's a great idea or tell me I'm out of my mind. And it's just been a wonderful support group. And there are people to talk to when you need those different supports, whether it's crisis management or whether it's just somebody to talk to. There's always somebody around that you can talk to or go out and spend an evening with. There's always somebody there to do that. And I really didn't think I was going to have that support group anymore.
It sounds like it's the culture, too, at Wild Birds Unlimited that you enjoy, too, Ellen. And listening to, I've never, in the 6 years of doing that show, I like how you mentioned, use the word friends, which I think is very powerful, the relationship with franchisees and also the relationship with the franchisor. I think that's very powerful what you said. So I think that's fantastic, and it sounds like, as you said, there's always someone to talk to, and you wouldn't get that if you did this on your own, would you? If you called it, Ellen's Birds Unlimited, I guess it would be a lot more lonely experience.
Right. Yeah, so and they are my friends. I mean, Paul is right up there, and I'm just not saying that. Paul's up there, and I mean, any number of them. I mean, I look at them all as my friends, and whenever I think of coming to the end of this relationship at some point, to me it's going to be incredibly sad because they're all my friends, and I value all their friendship and I value their knowledge. They have great ideas. I don't always agree with their ideas, and I don't. And they always go along with that, and they accept when you don't agree with them. I don't know. They don't always like it, but and they always accept the criticism. And I think sometimes they let you go away on your own, and whether it works or whether it doesn't work, that's accepted, which is good to know.
Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.